One of the neat things about this award program is the inclusion of young folks. And you guys really do go out of your way to recognize the efforts of the younger hunter, the younger angler. That's such a critical component because it does provide some longevity, I guess, to them wanting to remain within that activity, whether it's hunting or angling.
Without a doubt, and it's actually, you kind of pulled a little bit of a heartstring there for me, is that that's the actual reason, and or one of the main reasons why I got involved with Fish and Game associations, but particularly with the Alberta Fish and Game Association and with looking after the records program. I mean, obviously I had an interest in becoming an official measurer, started off at the Alberta Fish and Game measurer level in the mid 90s, and then became an official Boone and Crockett and Pope and Young measurer. I think it was in 2005 was the year that I did that. But I fondly remember being recognized at different levels through different fish and game associations when I was a young kid. My father took me out. We'd go hunting, we'd go fishing. Well, it was mostly fishing, and you catch a good fish here or there, and it really meant something to me when I was younger. So I really have that appreciation for that. And I really strongly believe that, as you mentioned, that it's something that we have to do. We need to make sure that we're getting the youth involved in these activities, because as with any other organization, you need to have new people coming into the organization.
In terms of this year, what are how does someone participate in the awards program?
So it really is no different than any other year. If you want to get involved, you want to be in the awards program. I mean, the majority of the entries which we get do come from local clubs, affiliate clubs that do filter their way up through the process and get to the Alberta Fish and Game Association head office and then make their way to me. But you can, as I mentioned before, anyone can enter, and you would just simply do that by ensuring that you have the appropriate form filled out, and you can find those forms on our website. It's probably the most important thing that I would recommend to everyone is, while you're getting out in the field, make sure that you have those forms available to you, right? So in the case of a fish, you need to make sure all of our entries now are done off of length. We're supporting catch and release, but in those areas where fish can be caught and kept, you can still take your length measurements, your overall length measurement to a pinch tail. We need to ensure that you are showing the entire fish with the flat measuring device beside it, so that as the records person and the person who's doing the judging, I can verify the actual length of that fish. Likewise, for any other types of entries that require measurement, in the bird side of things, there's a ringneck pheasant and the Merriam's turkey. We measure the beard in the Merriam's turkey and the overall length of the ringneck pheasant. For other bird entries, you need to have the bird weighed using an official certified scale. So it needs to be a registered scale that is certified at least once a year, that you can say, yes, this particular bird is being weighed. And in the case of big game, then you would get a form filled out, and it does need to be measured by an official Alberta Fish and Game Association measurer, or an official Boone and Crockett or Pope and Young measurer. That's the criteria. The Alberta Fish and Game Association uses the Boone and Crockett scoring system. We recognize that, and we recognize their awards program minimums as the Alberta Fish and Game minimum as well. In the case of archery entries, we do have archery competitions. An official Pope and Young measurer or Boone and Crockett would serve for that. And it's just a matter of getting those entries in, those officially measured entries, sent off either through your local club. Most clubs have their measuring days where you do the horns and the skulls will get measured, or you can do that as an individual, do it yourself, coordinate that with the official measurer. It's easy to find official measures if you go onto either the Boone and Crockett or Pope and Young website. We're in a day and age where we have official measurers for both of those clubs, and we have official measurers throughout the entire province. So it's not like you have to drive 6-7 hours to find an official measurer that's close to you. Hopefully we can get back to a more normal world where we would have February 28th as a deadline, and we'd be having those measuring events in January and February.
Well, here's hoping that we do return to a normal world sooner rather than later for a whole bunch of reasons, not the least of which so that folks like yourself and all of the folks that want to get out and I guess, like I said, have some bragging rights around what they did over the past season can meet in person and celebrate those achievements. And I think it's really great that the AFGA has such an inclusive attitude towards not just members, but any Albertan that wants to go out and celebrate a hunting or a fishing win in terms of a harvest and share it with all of us. I think that's wonderful. Thanks so much. I know you got a lot on your plate, so hopefully we can rekindle this conversation in the not too distant future and maybe get an idea of who's on top of their game in terms of fishing and hunting over the past season.
Well, thanks a lot, Michael. And just in closing, I would just like to encourage everyone to make sure that you submit your entries. Don't worry about whether or not it's the biggest or the smallest. You would be amazed if you look at the few number of entries we get for certain categories. And I know that there was way more fish that were caught of that species or animals were harvested. The reality is it's important to get the entries in. And especially if you think you have something of decent size, it's about getting the animal and recognizing the animal and our conservation efforts into our record books. Even if you don't win that particular year, it's about getting the records of our conservation efforts. That's really what it's about, and that's why I would encourage everyone to enter anything that they think is worthwhile. They want to put in the competition or the record book.